race number 7 of the season. Tonight we take on Milwaukee Mile here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. As tonight we start race number 7 for tonight's Alan Kulwicki 162, presented by apologies, 1 second. I don't even know the race name. But presented by Facility Functions Incorporated. Apologies for that one. But now practice just concluding there. We're getting ready to get underway here from Milwaukee and get qualifying underway. As there is Dan Barone, as we know. Pretty sure I was in 2 laps, 5 minutes since I 2 laps, but we'll see. Race here from Milwaukee. Tonight's Alan Kulwicki 162% by Facility Functions. First lap right now off the turn. Shifting going to be a very big factor tonight as shifting a lot at the short track, but also Milwaukee, really a flat racetrack. You always pretty much wish it would really be a race. See how this works out here for Dan Barone coming across the line. Lap number 1 will be 30.750. Jump to P1 on the board for now as driver to actually set a lap. So of course, going to slot into second. This lap time was slow. We'll go to the top of a 30.5 for one more watch. Dan Barone here down to the turn number 3 and 4. Across the line, we're running 30.209. Jump to P2. Rusty Rafferty sets the fastest lap on lap number 1. See here what he does here on lap number 2, 3, and 4. Be strong there on the bottom. Will extend it all the way back out to the top of the racetrack. Right away set outside wall. Rusty Rafferty with a 30.086. Will not improve on lap number 2. Watch out for 4 races on the year so far. 4 races at least on the year so far. Cameron Gilmore. We'll see if we're 4 wins for Cameron Gilmore. Let's see who's going to try and make it a 5th one here tonight at Milwaukee. He'll start his first lap here down into 1 and 2. Try to keep it wrapped around the down into turn 3 and 4 off of turn 4. Cameron and Gilmore, will it be enough for pole? Cameron Gilmore crossed the line at 30.035, will not be pole. Josh Fish was one of the fastest in practice. He jumped up to second, but now he falls back to 3rd for Cameron Gilmore. And Cameron Gilmore, can he put it on down back straightaway on his lap number 2? A little bit higher up here in 3 and 4, trying to keep some more speed, trying to get a later apex off the corner. Think a little tight. We'll see if that's enough speed, get the speed up to make it the distance. 30.077. It will not be enough for pole for Cameron Gilmore. Rusty Rafferty on the pole for now, and everyone else has set their qualifying time, so that means Rusty Rafferty will be on the pole for tonight's race here at Milwaukee for tonight's Alan Kulwicki 162, presented by Facility Functions. This qualifying still has about a minute, another minute to finish up here. So Rusty Rafferty able to put it on the pole here tonight. While we wait for qualifying, just to wrap up, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back here from Milwaukee. Welcome back here to the Milwaukee Mile for tonight's Alan Quickie 162 presented by Facility Functions. We have race number 7 of the Contender series. So we're getting underway. We'll see if Cameron Gilmore is starting second tonight. We'll see if he can pick up a 5th win on the season, or get someone else, or will be someone else to be able to take it away as the pace car getting ready to roll off. Let's take a look at our starting lineup here for tonight's race here from Milwaukee. Rusty Rafferty puts it on the pole, and Cameron Gilmore alongside him in second. Starting third tonight will be the 2 Joshua Schmitz, and Calvin Smith will start fourth tonight. Starting 5th will be the 33 Dan Brown. Jason Phillips will start 6th. Starting 7th will be Dwayne Hamilton. And starting 8th will be 7th. Starting in 9th tonight will be 17th. Early running and starting 11th will be the 9th. We'll see Kyle Schmitz in the 19th will start tonight. Starting 15th will be David Wells and Stephen Horner in the 17th will start 14th tonight. Starting 15th will be Scott Gerber. Machine to the fly will start 16th and then the machine starting in running or 17th is Rusty Rafferty able to claim the pole here tonight. Alongside him is Cameron Gilmore, really the 110 green Milwaukee Mile. A lot older shows we're used to seeing the racetrack we saw Iowa last week. New pavement. We'll see who can manage the tie. We're here tonight. Very long race here tonight. 162 miles. Right away. Failing with the 160. Rusty Rafferty still in the lead, still about 0.3 of a second in front of Cameron Gilmore. Joshua Schmitz about a 1.5 seconds behind as he's right fighting with Dan Barone. Cameron Gilmore and Rusty Rafferty pulling away from the rest of the field right now. They are Smith left everyone else behind by about 2 seconds back to Dan Barona. Dan Barona able to get by Joshua Smith. That is Calvin Smith. They're already spreading out already pretty early on here is Milwaukee. Very tough racetrack to especially nail. As you kind of see, a lot of the drivers just start to struggle here. This racetrack is it's definitely a weird flat racetrack. The corners feel asymmetrical. They're not really like a usual corner. You gotta diamond it a little bit. But also diamonding sometimes diamonding is not faster. Sometimes depending on what line you're running. So it's just really a really weird racetrack compared to what we're usually seeing here on the NASCAR circuit. But so far, Cody Dorsey running in 10th right now. The closest battle really here with Dorian Hamilton right now, about 2/10 of a second. So this is the closest battle on the racetrack. Kyle Smith's just sitting right behind, trying to make something happen. Calvin Smith now, he's closing the gap on Joshua Smith. So Joshua Smith starting to struggle a little bit here as we get to the middle part of this run. So the early part, kind of the run is over, but Joshua Smith, he was running up in third earlier, lost a spot to Dan Barone. He's losing time. No one else can really find his way by, but here comes Calvin Smith down to the bottom. He's try and go down the inside lane here, side by side with Joshua Smith. Smith on the top lane is just struggling, it looks like. Can't get the car turned down to the racetrack. Jason Bottoms sits side by side now as Jason Bottoms will take that spot away as well. Bottoms almost gets into the door of Joshua Smith. Is going to force him up the racetrack a little bit. Joshua Smith will fall back to 6th already, and now here comes Derek O'Reilly trying to take advantage as well. As Smith just kind of stuck on the top lane, really only above that patch there in turn number 1 and 2. They just can't seem to kind of hold that line. They just can't get it onto the patch. He just kind of stuck up on the top lane. Just not making it work so far right up on the top lane right just yet. Joshua Schmidt's down the back straightaway, still trying to fight for 6th here. It's Derek Rowley trying to get down to the inside, trying to take the spot away. Schmidt's not making it easy for him just yet, but off of turn number 4. Derek Riley still not clear, as they're still going to be side by side down the front straightaway into turn number 1. Back on the bottom, Brady Cookshausen just sitting right behind these two, trying to follow whoever wins this battle through. He's trying to follow Derek Riley through to get by Joshua Smith as well, as Riley will finally clear for that 6th place spot. Cookshausen not able to take advantage on the bottom. Cookshausen, who's into turn number 3, he'll try to slide up in front of Schmidt, not able to do it. Also kind of a really tough track to pass as well from Milwaukee, so especially if you can't get the car rotated very well on the bottom. But Joshua Smith struggling on the top lane as he will fall behind Brandon Cookshausen for 7th. So now Joshua Smith will fall back to 8th. That's really spreading out in that top 7. Now really the closest battle is just back here with Dorian Hamilton and Robert Whipple. They're battling for 10th, that 10th place spot. Trying to pull away a little bit, as now he pulls away a little bit by Dorian Hamilton, but Dorian Hamilton seems a little bit better in the braking zone. Trying to gain his time on braking, but Whipple seems a little bit better off the exit of the corner. Back to up front, we do have Rusty Rafferty, Cameron Gilmore, still about 0.3 of a second. So we'll see how this battle kind of evolves throughout the run, especially once we get really late into a run with tire wear. Now, fuel tonight looking around 55 laps. So everyone will pretty much be an easy two-stop race to the end of an easy two-stop race, depending on how they're shifting, and also depending on if they're running the higher lane and taking the longer distance or running the bottom. But I believe it should be an easy two-stop for every driver out there tonight. Cameron Gilmore, he's making some time up on the top lane right now, trying to get some clean air on Rusty Rafferty, but we got a caution out of the racetrack. This is Robert Whipple around off of turn number 4. Let's take a look at what happened here. So off of turn number 4, it looks like he may have just lost it, and he did. Try to lock it down, but just spun back up the racetrack in front of Kyle Schmitz. Kyle Schmitz avoids, but Robert Whipple just gets into the outside wall. And that brings out the first caution of the night here from the Milwaukee Mile. Now, I'll easily make it a two-stop strategy, but now this is also going to kind of open up a different strategy with tires. Now, Rusty Rafferty going to come down pit road along with Cameron Gilmore, Dan Barone, Calvin Smith. So everybody going to come down pit road for tires here. Already here on lap number 20 of the night. So Dan Barone, though, he'll just roll through pit road. Interesting call there. So it looks like he may have missed his box. David Wells, fuel only, looks like. No, I also rolled through. Not getting any box times for any of these drivers. So we'll see if Joshua Spence, he was kind of falling back a little bit. But there's Rusty Rafferty. He'll slot up in 4th. Interesting to note, Jason Bonham's, David Wells, they did have no box time, so it looks like they just kind of rolled through. Let's take a look if Jason Bonham's may have missed his stall here. It was definitely in his stall. Oh, Jason Bonham's overshot his stall. That's what happened there. I can't really get a camera angle on it. There's finally. Yeah, so he just overshot his stall and he just decided to just go and just miss it, but he did spin the tires out. So Jason Bonham's will line up in 3rd here. Actually, no, but Jay Barone and David Wells will come back down pit road as they both missed their box during that first pit stop. So it'll be Jason Bonham's will take the race lead as he missed his box, so he will line up in 1st here. Getting ready to restart here on lap number 23 of 162, as it will be Jason Bonham's and Rusty Rafferty on the front row for this restart. As green flag back in the air, so you go into the restart zone. A good launch from Jason Bonham's on the inside lane. He'll get clear, but we'll see how well these tires hold on. Check can be of big importance as well. So we'll see if we can kind of block the rest of the field, because it also is a very tough to pass racetrack. But Jason Bonham's, he will still clear. But but down into turn number 3 and 4, it will be Jason Bottoms holding the bottom. Rusty Rafferty will go around the outside with the fresher tires. He will clear, but now Cameron Gilmore allowed to try and follow suit. He wants to have a chance to get up to Rusty Rafferty, and he will. Derek Riley looking to do the same as well. So Jason Bottoms' older tires going to start to hurt him a little bit here as you see how long it takes for those tires to kind of even out compared to everybody else on the fresher tires. So far, he already falling back to 4th as Derek Riley goes around to the outside. Everybody's really rolling around the outside for now, but Jason Bottoms still holding 4th strongly for now as he started to pull away a little bit there off of turn 4. Seems to be taking a little bit easier as well going into the corner. So maybe you can save a little more tires as well. Maybe come back a little bit later towards the tail end of this run. Bottoms will stay side by side now with Calvin Smith as he falls back to 5th. Kyle Schmidt's going to try and go around the outside. Not going to be able to do it. Jason Bottoms just way up the racetrack. Almost contact with Kyle Schmitz, and Kyle Schmitz had to slam on the brakes there to not hit him. And that's going to lose him spots to Torian Hamilton and Cody Dorsey. Kyle Schmitz around the outside off of turn number 2. Kyle Schmitz still battling side by side with Robert Wood, the only battle on the racetrack currently so far. Brandon Cookshouse's the next closest battle on the racetrack, about a 10th and a half back from Calvin Smith. That 5th place spot, but that gap starts to open back up again, but then it'll close back up into the corner, and now Brandon Cookhouse actually takes the spot away. Takes the nose out in front of Calvin Smith. They stay side by side now. 3 and 4, so a really good corner for Brandon Cookshausen. Cameron Gilmore about a 10th and a half back from the race lead of Rusty Rafferty. He's going to try and take an opportunity. Take a look at the race lead. Cameron Gilmore down the back straightaway. He seems to be looking around the outside a little bit more often. He's trying to find, so it seems like he's finding a little bit more speed in the center of the corner. He'll also try to set up Rusty Rafferty here as well. He wants to try and get by Rafferty for the race lead, knowing clean air track is big importance here, especially in this next gen car. So far, he's still sitting there in 2nd, starts to fall back just a tad again. Able to get close enough yet to make a move. So far, Rusty Rafferty staying in the lead, holding it pretty strong right now. Now I started to pull away a little bit, so Cameron Gilmore may overkeep his tires a little bit, trying to get around the outside. But we do have a battle back here for fifth. Or for fourth is now Joshua Smith starting to fall back a little bit already. So Joshua Smith really seems to struggle after about lap 10 of the run. Rafferty now actually loses the lead there as Cameron Gilmore started to see what happened here. Cameron Gilmore able to drive in deep into 3. I expected a little bit. Cameron Gilmore really good drive through 3 and 4 there. He'll take the spot away from Rusty Rafferty for the race lead. So now Cameron Gilmore going to set his sights forward. He actually gets by Joshua Smith now, so Joshua Smith starting to fall back. So he seems to really struggle after about 10 laps, just overheats his tires really badly. He still holds on for now, still holding on to that 5th place spot, but he's under heavy attack and he has dropped a lot of pace. But it seems like most of the field is in about just 2 car packs right now. Fight back to the bottom. Going to stay alongside Joshua Schmitz. Not going to be able to do it just yet as he does off the corner. Joshua Schmitz gets tight, almost has to get out of, almost gets into the wall there. Hamilton will fight back to the bottom. He'll clear up in front of Joshua Schmitz for that position. But meanwhile, just up in front of him, Brandon Cuxtown going to go around the outside of Derek Riley for third. So Brandon Cuxtown going to show him pretty good pace here in the middle part of this run. Hamilton now, he actually got by just a few laps ago. Now he's going to try and get by Derek Riley. So Derek Riley started to fall back. number 4, it is going to be Dorian Hamilton getting by Derek Riley there, but they're really spread out the rest of this pack right now, the rest of the entire field. So it's only about 3 or 4 tenths of a gap between a car. The gaps are just stretching out now as about a second and a half back. The race top 2 is Brendan Huxtable. He's been making good pace here later in this part of this run, so we'll see if he starts to close the gap back a little bit. Rusty Rafferty, though, he's been a couple tenths faster than Cameron Gilmore, so we'll see this time by, that time by, Cameron Gilmore 2 tenths faster than Rusty Rafferty, so it seems like they're changing a little bit. Battle back here for 13th, Amber Roan and Scott Gerber battling side by side. That battle kind of settled out there. Scott Gerber fell back to 13th as Dan Marone actually got by Dan Stockero as well. This battle on the racetrack here with Dorian Hamilton, Derek Riley, and Brandon Cuxhausen. Dorian Hamilton also showing good pace, so do have a few comers and goers so far early in this one. Dorian Hamilton, Brandon Cuxhausen, Cameron Gilmore, Rusty Rafferty seem to be the fastest 4 on the racetrack. They've all worked their way up through the field. Gilmore seems to be the best of all of them so far, as he is our race leader. Only about a half a second over Rusty Rafferty, so still can't make any mistakes. Cuxhausen holding third as he gets by Dakota wide there, so Dakota goes 1 lap down. So second driver, 1 lap down. Jason Bottoms running in 17th. Jason Bottoms did not take tires that first caution. Just missed his box. He's been struggling since the restart. He's now 1 lap down. He's running for a caution at this point. Rafferty, though, still about 2.5 tenths back. Two and a half tenths. Rusty Rafferty staying pretty close. These two have been pretty much even all night long, but Cameron Gilmore, he had to take his time to get by Rusty Rafferty, find his way by. Rusty Rafferty trying to do the same, so Rafferty seems to be a little bit quicker as you get into the really late part of this run. trying to get a little bit of get a little bit to the outside to get some clear on the nose. Just can't get there just yet. Down is Rusty Rafferty getting a lot closer there to the back bumper of Cameron Gilmore. Can't find his way by just yet. Trying to work on the outside lane, trying to get some nose there. Just trying to get some clear on the nose is really a big factor in this next-gen car, and it seems like Rusty Rafferty has been trying to do that. Let's go on board here with Rusty Rafferty, just kind of see what's going through his head, going into the corners. So he's up the fourth gear, so these drivers seem to be shifting between fourth and third, but he can't get the car turned down. Not going to get the car turned down there and trying to cut under Cameron Gilmore, but still about 3.5 tenths of a second. Down the back straightaway. Rafferty will stay a little bit higher here in 3 and 4, trying to get a little bit cleaner on the nose, but now he's going to have the opportunity to cut under. Looked pretty strong there through 3 and 4, but then now he's going to get tight off the corner, so race car really loves to get very tight off turn 4, so that seems to be the problem tonight. These drivers just seem to be plowing tight a little bit off the corner, so that's going to be a big factor as well, and it's kind of how they save their tires, but it looks like Rusty Rafferty has fallen off the pace a little bit compared to Rusty Rafferty. Now about 2 seconds behind. Dory Hamilton trying to do the same to Brandon Cuxhausen. Still about 3 tenths back. It's just a little bit close. Cuxhausen holding on in front of Dorian Hamilton right now, still sitting there in that 4th place spot. Dorian Hamilton was pretty strong at New Hampshire, was the fastest driver at New Hampshire, but which had a very big pit road mistake that ended up speeding on pit road, cost him the opportunity at that win. So I think it could be a little bit kind of similar stories here for Dorian Hamilton. Maybe try and transfer a little bit of a knowledge from New Hampshire to Milwaukee, but just can't really find the gap just yet to get by Brandon Cuxhausen. This track really isn't like New Hampshire. It's kind of similar. I mean, it's a mile, it's a flat, but the way how the pavement is, how the corner drives a little bit differently. The corner is like a little bit asymmetrical. You kind of watch the curve on the inside of the corner. It kind of just comes and goes away. As you'll see, it's not very even throughout the corner. It's always kind of undulating a little bit. As you see, it kind of juts out in a couple places. So the corner is really not really symmetrical, perfectly symmetrical, perfectly round. So that's why some of these drivers. Maybe that's why some drivers who maybe be really good at New Hampshire, not very good here at Milwaukee. Dorian Hamilton though, still having a strong run so far, sitting up in 4th. He's trying to find his way by Brandon Cuxhausen, but just can't get under him or around him on the outside. He might have an opportunity here off of turn 2. Yes, he does. Down the back straightaway, entering into turn number 3. It'll be 100 laps to go this time by, but Hamilton tries to stay around the outside. He thinks better of it. He'll back off through the center of the corner, and he'll cut under Brandon Cuxhausen. Good move there from Dorian Hamilton, as he actually clear off at turn 4. Good run, a good move there from Dorian Hamilton. He'll take that 3rd place spot away. Now the close battle on the racetrack is back here with Stan Stockero and Scott Kerber. The 63 laps into this one, that first pit round of green flag stops, probably going to be coming around 10 laps or so. So pit road is definitely a much tougher beast here at Milwaukee compared to other tracks. It is a very, very narrow pit entry. So you'll see next time by coming off turn number 4 here. Let's take a look at kind of the cut to that camera there, pit road. So here's pit exit. Here's pit entry. Not really a great camera angle there, but don't have any really good camera angles on pit road here at Milwaukee for some reason. But off at turn number 4, as you see, it really that wall juts out here. You have to be under that yellow line there. You have to stay there in order to not get unsafe pit entry. So it's very tough pit entry there. Also, very much slower pit road entry than you will be coming off turn 4. So you got to slow down a lot. And also the car loves to get tight off of turn number 4, so these drivers have to crank the wheel pretty much, have to slow their way down before they even get off the exit of turn 4. And try to just keep it a little bit lower off the corner. He's about a second ahead of Rusty Rafferty now, so he's really pulled the gap away. Stephen Horner and Jason Bottoms, they're battling for this position now, so they're both 1 lap down. Jason Bottoms holds on to 15th as he'll get by Stephen Horner. Next battle on the racetrack, Robert Whipple, Kyle Schmidt's closest battle, about a 10th and a half, but most of the field really spread out over about a second, over a second. But off of turn number 2, down the back straightaway will go to Robert Whipple into turn number 3. Not enough just yet, but he's going to hold on. As Kyle just can't find the way. They're on the outside, but these drivers kind of crawling through the corners. Lap times feel very slow. Feels very slow here. Shows you the tire wear different, but just the difference in the tire wear so far in this one. The tire wear has fallen about a second off the pace. Calvin Smith in 6th, still trying to chase down Derek Riley, trying to close the gap in a little bit, back to about 3/10 of a second. Now it opens up as Calvin Smith not strong there off of turn number 2. Calvin Smith trying to close the gap to Derek Riley. Can't get there just yet. It's about 3/10 is the gap. Rusty Rafferty, though, the big gains he's actually going to get to the inside of Cameron Gilmore. Has really closed the gap the past few laps. There was a second of a gap, but now it's much farther as now Rusty Rafferty closed the gap back to 2 seconds. Now Cameron Gilmore opens it back up to 4/10, so just a lot of time just being traded, really. It seems like Cameron Gilmore gains about 3 or 4/10. Rusty Rafferty gains 3 or 4/10 back, as it's kind of in striking distance of a move being made, but then it kind of opens back up to Cameron Gilmore. Rusty Rafferty actually going to come down pit road here on lap number 72. So right around a scheduled pit stop, 51 laps there on that run. So Rusty Rafferty down pit road into his pit stall. So takes 4 tires, full tank of fuel, and he'll roll back out, and he's actually going to stay 11. So Cameron Gilmore now down pit road. So that's all the pit stop there with Rusty Rafferty. Cameron Gilmore now on pit road as well, 1 lap later. Cameron Gilmore, oh wow, almost really misjudged that pit exit. Almost hit the pit exit wall. He comes out of pit road. Comes out of pit road. Okay, and here comes Rusty Rafferty. With the warmed up tires already pitted. Now he's going to come around turn number 3 and 4. Not able to get by Cameron Gilmore, so not able to jump Cameron Gilmore with the pit strategy. He's got a good run here off of turn number 4. Going to try and maybe drive down into turn number 1 and 2. Maybe try to drive to the inside. There's Dory Hamilton coming off the pit road. Dory Hamilton was running 4th with Randy Cuxhausen. Running 3rd. Dory Hamilton pretty close there off the pit exit. Down into turn number 3. Rusty Rafferty drives it very deep in there. Almost gets into the quarter panel of Cameron Gilmore. The old spot. So Cameron Gilmore will hold the race. Well, now back to the net race lead after Kyle Schmitz and Derek Rowley come down pit road. Derek Rowley now in pit road now. As we would now wait for Kyle Schmitz to come down pit road, and there he goes. So Cameron Gilmore now inherit the race lead once again once he crosses the line here. Rusty Rafferty struggling there already off of turn number 4. He's really starting to struggle early in this run already. It looks like everyone has come down pit road except for Scott Kerber. Is now Scott Kerber will come down pit road. So pretty much everyone has come down the pit road now for their stops. And Roy Hamilton though actually gets by Rusty Rafferty. Rusty Rafferty off of turn 2, slow as he looks like he spins off of turn number 2. Rusty Rafferty struggling already in the second run, and he spins off of turn number 2. He keeps it off the racing surface down in the grass. It spins back up the track. No caution to keep it straight. So wow, big mistake there for Rusty Rafferty. Rest here after he now holds in third, even after it still holds up in third, but even after that spin, but he's lost 8 seconds to Cameron Gilmore. So now Cameron Gilmore out in a 2.5 second lead, and it looks like he's going to pretty dominant performance once again for Cameron Gilmore. He's looking to pick up win number 5 on the season. Calvin Smith though trying to get by Joshua Schmitz here. Joshua seems to kind of start to fall in rhythm now, as he's really struggled early run, but he's now settled into about a 7th right now. So he's still got Cameron Gilmore, but still kind of early in the 2nd run right now. But close battle on the racetrack. Everyone else over 2 seconds from the car in front of him, except for these 3 right here. Going to go see Joshua Schmitz and Calvin Smith. Just 0.2 of a second. Now for Calvin Smith to get by Joshua Schmitz down to the turn number 3 and 4. It is going to be Joshua Schmitz still out in front, staying a much higher on the racetrack, but Calvin Smith breaking the inside lane, working a little bit better. Not able to make anything of it just yet. Hamilton, he's closed the gap down to Cameron Gilmore. Cameron Gilmore maybe struggling a little bit in lap traffic. A good drive as he gets under Kyle Schmitz to take and put Kyle Schmitz a lap down, but he is really close the gap to Cameron Gilmore now. The gap is about 0.6 of a second to Cameron Gilmore. So really good pace here for Dorian Hamilton right now, about 0.3 faster a lap than Cameron Gilmore. Sort of Cameron Gilmore maybe just backed off the pace a little bit, knowing he had a lot of gap, but Dorian Hamilton's really picked up pace, really showing some speed now. Now the gap is down 0.3 of a second. Dorian Hamilton's flying compared to Cameron Gilmore right now. Cameron Gilmore maybe struggling a little bit on the early here in the 2nd run. Is maybe overheating his tires a little bit. His first 10 laps or so, But he is really falling off the pace compared to what he was earlier. And now here comes Dorian Hamilton. Dorian Hamilton 3/10 of a second back. It's right on the back bumper of Cameron Gilmore for an opportunity to take this lead away. He's running the bottom really strong. Kind of staying in that patch there on the bottom of the racetrack. Gap still out 3/4 of a second for Dwayne Hamilton. Cameron Gilmore staying about just 4/10. He seems to pick up the pace now. Started to find a little bit of pace now as he's not letting Dorian Hamilton get by him for the race lead. His last time by it is Cameron Gilmore with a 30.614. See Dorian Hamilton 30.61667. So Cameron Gilmore a little bit quicker last time by, but now Dorian Hamilton right to his inside off of turn number 4. Now can't get the nose there just yet off the exit. But we're looking strong through the center, 1 and 2. He pulls away a little bit off the exit. Now he's got Stephen Horner though off the exit. Dorian Hamilton does too. That's actually going to slow them both up. Hamilton up a little bit more as now he doesn't even have the entry he would prefer. Down into 3 and 4. Gilmore making a lot of pace to the middle. He's just kind of staying in the middle, keeping Hamilton behind him. Hamilton 2/10 of a second back. Cameron Gilmore just holding the middle. Just holding off Hamilton for now. Hamilton right on the back bumper. Cameron Gilmore, he's just holding on so far right now, but just very tough to pass here in Milwaukee. And now we're kind of seeing it, but Gilmore, how long are these tires going to hold on? Is the question. Hamilton, he's been getting to the inside. But Gilmore, he started to block the bottom of the racetrack there. So now this time by though, off at turn number 4, it'll be 62 laps there. We'll complete 100 down, 62 to go here from the Milwaukee Mile. Now a little bit of lap traffic will play a factor, but we're getting in about 10 or so laps. We'll be in that final pit window. second by the 53-year-old Robert Whipple there, but this battle for the race lead's still close. So far, we're getting close to that final pit stop of the race. 60 to go here. So everyone has made 2 stops. Everyone has made their 2 stops for the night so far. Except for one, Dakota Bly has made 3 stops. And Jason Montezie was the last one to pit 19 laps ago. So I think he split that a little bit. So he was going for a 3-stop strategy as well. But he's back in 15th as he stayed out. But here comes Dory Hamilton now to the bottom of the racetrack, side by side. Here with Cameron Gilmore. Can Gilmore hold on to the top lane? The battle for the race lead. Dory Hamilton looking strong in this penultimate run of the race. And Cameron Gilmore trying to fight back on the top lane. Drives it very deep into the corner. Can he get the run off the corner? Can he stay alongside? No, he does not. And Dorian Hamilton, he will clear for the race lead. And now he's going to try and pull away just like he did in New Hampshire back on the race number 2 of the season. But he's got to be clean on pit road. That was his mistake last time in New Hampshire. Similar racetrack kind of to Milwaukee. Both flat, both a mile. The corners drive a little bit differently, but Dorian Hamilton, he's kind of found his pace. He's found his rhythm. Can he be one of the only few drivers so far this season to defeat Cameron Gilmore? It's only Calvin Smith and Cody Dorsey who defeated Cameron Gilmore, but Cameron Gilmore didn't even race at New Hampshire, so Cody Dorsey had that one, but it was only Calvin Smith who's been able to win other than Cameron Gilmore and Cody Dorsey. And he won at Charlotte. Cameron Gilmore had some unfortunate luck there in Charlotte. He's trying to chase back down Dorian Hamilton for a race lead. There's still 55 laps to go. Don't want to go too long here on this run. He can only probably go about 20 more laps. Hamilton now, he got the lead. He's now pulled away by 1.5 seconds over Cameron Gilmore. So Gilmore just struggling in this run, it seems. It seems like he's overheated his tires much earlier compared to the others. The gaps have really just spread out throughout the field right now. The closest battle is Rusty Rafferty and Brandon Cuxhausen. As Rusty Rafferty spun at the start of this run, and now he's fallen behind Brandon Cuxhausen. So Rusty Rafferty hoping for a caution. He's been one of the battle with Cameron Gilmore all race long. See if he's got anything. Yeah, get back up to the front of the pack. not much happening here, but the final pit window is open. This time by will be 50 laps to go. Time by will be 46 laps to go for Dorian Hamilton. He's now pulled to about 4.5 seconds out in front of everybody else so far. About 10 laps away for the final stop of the night for Dorian Hamilton. Jason Monk saw her ticker a few laps ago. He did come down pit road for his final stop of the night. It should just be 1 lap ago, so he'll be good to the end. But he is already 3 laps down as he lost a lap on pace from earlier, just being on the older tires. And then also pitting earlier for going for the 3-stop strategy. But this time by with 45 laps to go for Dorian Hamilton. We're going to take this opportunity. We're doing Ellen crank it up here for Milwaukee. Cameron Gilmore coming off a pit road now as he pits from that second place spot. He was much farther back from Dorian Hamilton. Now he's going to try and gain all that time back here late. A really, really tough second stint there. Dorian Hamilton now comes down pit road as well as Dorian Hamilton off of pit road. 3 seconds ahead of Cameron Gilmore. It's a 2-lap tire advantage for Dorian Hamilton. So we'll see Cody Dorsey, Derek Riley. They stay out a couple more laps. They gotta pit the next couple of laps here. Make their final stop of the night. They're hoping for a caution. Derek Riley now pits from the lead. So Derek Riley can cycle back out but still 12 seconds is the gap. You could maybe see a 2-tire strategy call from Cody Dorsey or Derek Riley. No one taking 2 tires though. They're late. Everyone takes 4. But Dorian Hamilton though, he's only 2.5 seconds back out. It's out in front of Cameron Gilmore. Dorsey now out of pit road as he gets passed by Derek Riley, so Derek Riley is just out in front. Derek Riley. 3/10 back from Calvin Smith. This battle for 6th. Really, that's the closest battle on the racetrack right now. 2.5 of a second. Cameron Gilmore, he's lost the second back to Dorian Hamilton. Derek Riley with a little bit of 10-lap fresher tires. Trying to chase him back down, trying to get back into the top 5. This is about 4 seconds back from Joshua Schmitz. Another close battle on the racetrack to go Bly here with Scott Gerber now as that gap opens up a little bit. Scott Gerber gets by. Bly, lap 50 now, has to make one more stop as now Derek Riley fights back to the inside of Calvin Smith. By Calvin Smith there is now Cody Dorsey trying to get by Calvin Smith here with 25 to go. The laps are ticking down. It's not much really happening here other than the battle here with Cody Dorsey and Calvin Smith right now, but 25 to go. Dorian Hamilton is 2-second lead, so Cameron Gilmore trying to chase him back down after a really rough second stint. Cuxhaven, though, he's chasing down Rusty Rafferty. Rusty Rafferty pitted a 1 lap earlier. He's actually able to get back in front of Brandon Cuxhausen through the pit cycles. Brandon Cuxhausen now 4/10 of a second as he's really closed the gap in these past 2 laps. now 2 tenths ahead, just barely ahead of Brandon Cuxhausen. 20 to go though. Brandon Cuxhausen has plenty of time to make this move. It is going to be tough to get by. Cuxhausen fighting on the bottom, staying alongside Rusty Rafferty. Still trying to get there. Drives it in deep into turn 1. He'll slide up in front, but he overdrives the corner big time. But here comes Rusty Rafferty. Gonna try to fight back to the bottom. Rafferty gonna still be there, just barely inside off the corner. Just here to the quarter panel of Brandon Cuxhausen. Cuxhausen will clear down the back into turn number 3. Slide up the racetrack and will take the spot away from Rusty Rafferty. These two still going to be trying to trade positions. Cameron Gilmore lost a lot of time off that last run. He's gained a lot, but then I mean, the time's really just been wavering about a half a second. I mean, sometimes you look at the timing, and Cameron Gilmore back by 2 seconds, but then it's Dorian Hamilton up by 3. So I mean, it's just like kind of wavering around 2 to 3 seconds every few laps or so. So you really don't really have a good idea. Really moves faster. They just seem to be just trading about 2-3 tenths of a lap faster for each driver. So this kind of seems to be where the limit is. But right now, oh, we got a car hardly inside wall there. I believe that was Dakota Bly. And it was right into the tire barrier, but gets it off keeps it off the racetrack. Could have been a caution, and blows the engine. Huge hit for Dakota Bly. Luckily, that was not a caution for Dorian Hamilton. He's just trying to get back to the checker, trying to take the win away. Yeah, about 2 tenths of a second for this battle for third between Cuxhausen and Rafferty. And it's just staying around that 2 tenths of a gap still. Tenths of a second still for Brandon Cuxhausen. It looks like he's holding pretty strong. He was a little bit faster. Let's just stay out in front of Rafferty. But as I mentioned, the gap was kind of wavering between these drivers. Now it's back up to 4.5 seconds for Dorian Hamilton. So I think it's going to be pretty safe for Dorian Hamilton to probably win this one. Just trying to get to 12 laps to go. He's just trying to get back to the white flag so there can't be no more cautions. Still about 3 tenths of a second. This is just still the closest battle on the racetrack now. There is a battle back here for about 10 for Robert Whipple, Kyle Schmidt. Whipple way up the racetrack now, and now he falls behind. Dean Stockera just fall behind David Wells there. As David, Dan Stockero looks like he's really slow. Has a lot of damage, actually. Let's take a look what happened. Oh, in contact with Calvin Smith. Calvin Smith and it looks like Dan Stockero got together. Calvin Smith loses it off of turn 4, spins back up the racetrack in front of Stockero, and Stockero lost it trying to avoid. Everybody kept it straight, but that damaged the car big time, and Dan Stockero has been destroyed, as his right front is destroyed after that, as that almost could have been a caution here late, but we stay green. Wow, that surprise stuff was not a caution. This Calvin Smith was pretty. The Rusty Rafferty not closing any further to. Closing any closer to Brandon Cuxhausen. Now Cuxhausen pulling away. Now they do have a gap back here for 5th. Joshua Schmidt trying to hold on to a top 5 here with 7 to go. Rally down to the bottom. We're going to get alongside Joshua Schmitz, and he will not clear up in front. Off of turn 4. 7 to go this time by. It's now Derek Riley going to slide up in front here. Off of turn 2 possibly. Yes, he will. It's clear. Joshua Schmitz there. Take the spot away. Yeah, closing in for 2nd here. Cameron Gilmore might fall back to 2nd. Is really struggling here late in this run. That's just going to get by a lap machine there. Dan Barone, but he is now back to only a 2nd in front of Brandon Cuxhausen here with 5 to go. And Cuxhausen find a little bit more pace to get to Cameron Gilmore. He's been a couple tenths faster per lap. A lot of the battle started to show up here late. Gap's down to just a half a second. As Cameron Gilmore, he's got. Actually, that's the 4 machine. Apologies, that is not Dan Barone. Actually, that is Dan Barone. It's just a custom number 4 machine. But Brandon Cuxhausen though closing the gap in as Dan Barone, the lap machine, will get out of the way now. He's trying to fight his way back by Cameron Gilmore, but Cameron Gilmore now trying to desperately fight for 2nd. Trying to hold on now that these two get together. Rusty Rafferty is there as well. That's an opportunity to still pick up a 2nd place position, but Cameron Gilmore is struggling on the entry. Locks up entering turn number 3. Brandon Cuxhausen now slides onto the inside. They're going to stay side by side off of turn number 4. Gilmore will try and fight to the outside. He'll try to hold the outside of Brandon Cuxhausen here, but I don't think he's got an opportunity. He's out of the 1. Cuxhausen will clear for 2nd as it looks like Cameron Gilmore is really just struggling with the driver now. He has fallen off multiple tenths of a second in just the past few laps. He's got another opportunity down in the 3. Does he take it? He's going to try and drive it in deep. Can't get there as Cuxhausen goes way up the racetrack as well. A few more lap cars up in front. But Gilmore now fights back to the bottom for 2nd. It looks like he's going to clear off a 4. And he will. So still trading blues for 2nd here with 2 laps to go. As Dorian Hamilton 7.5 seconds up in front of this battle. Cuxhausen just trying to slide job clear of Cameron Gilmore. Gilmore trying to cross back over. Now here comes Rusty Rafferty. Going to drive it deep into 3. As Dorian Hamilton off of turn number 4, he will take the white flag. 1 lap to go as the battle for 2nd heats up. It's the battle for 3rd as well. Rusty Rafferty going to fight back to the bottom. Going to try and stay side by side here. They'll fight back onto the top lane for Rusty Rafferty, but Cameron Gilmore drives it in deep into 1 and 2. Gives the inside to Rusty Rafferty. They're going to stay side by side for 3rd, but off of turn number 2, it's going to go to Rusty Rafferty. And Cameron Gilmore trying to drive it in one last time, but off of turn number 4, Dorian Hamilton will win at Milwaukee and get his first win of the season. The battle for third is going to be a drag race to the line between Rusty Rafferty and Cameron Gilmore. And the door bang across the line. At the line, it's going to go to Gilmore. Gilmore will pick up the podium just barely by 34 thousandths of a second. Will hold on to the third place spot. Those who were battling for the lead earlier, but they battle for third on late. But Dorian Hamilton, I mentioned earlier, kind of a similar racetrack to New Hampshire, a track he was dominant at earlier this season. He comes back and takes redemption from his pit road mistakes at New Hampshire. And he'll win at Milwaukee. And he'll burn it down here on the front straightaway. Dorian Hamilton burns it down here at Milwaukee. Be our only third winner this season. Dorian Hamilton will park it right across the start finish line. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back here for our top 2 interviews.
Here at KK Woodscapes, we only work with the finest woods, the finest tools. We sand the wood here at KK Woodscapes. We stir the paint with a wooden stick here at KK Woodscapes. And then we brush the wood with a wooden brush here at KK Woodscapes. And when it's all said and done, we have these perfectly manicured nails. Put the plaques in the trophies, in the envelopes, ship them to your box, and on your way to you to commemorate your special day. Got wood, KK Woodscapes.
Welcome back here to Milwaukee as you just wrapped up tonight's Kulwicki 162, presented by presented by, I forget every time, presented by Facility Functions Incorporated, Zero Handling Solutions. As tonight here it was the Alan Quickie 162, as it was a race there late on for third. It was Cameron Gilmore beating Rusty Rafferty out in the drag race. We'll talk to those three in just a second. Dorian Hamilton, Brandon Coxhausen, and Cameron Gilmore, top three finish in just a second. So let's take a look at tonight's results for tonight's Alan Quickie 162 presented by Facility Functions Incorporated here tonight from Milwaukee. As Dorian Hamilton, our race winner here tonight, Brandon Coxhausen finishing second. Cameron Gilmore finishing third. Rusty Rafferty rounding our top four. Derek Riley in fifth. Josh Smith in sixth. Cody Dorsey in seventh. Calvin Smith in eighth. Dan Barone in ninth. Kyle Schmitz rounding out the top 10 here tonight. Finishing 11th is Robert Whipple. David Wells finishing 12th. Scott Herberg in 13th. Jason Bobbins in 14th. Dan Stockaro in 15th. Dakota Bly in 16th. And Stephen Horner rounds our 17 car field here tonight. But we're now bringing our race winner of Dorian Hamilton. Was really strong at New Hampshire a few weeks ago. Unfortunately got that speeding penalty there, but you come to a similar racetrack here in Milwaukee, and you're able to get the win. Just what do you think? Kind of what went through your head tonight? Kind of what was it kind of similar handling compared to New Hampshire, or kind of what was different here tonight for Milwaukee?
Yeah, it's a similar idea. Kind of like a flat corners. For some reason, I guess I like these shifting tracks, but kind of just same mentality. Just run my pace, and I'll get my places whenever I can.
Yeah, you're able to get by Cameron Gilmore there in that second run there. It seems like Gilmore kind of struggled with the tire wear a little bit, kind of towards we got to the later part of that race. So kind of just talk us through how does the tire wear out there tonight, and how really did the car handle?
Yeah, for sure. Later in the run, you have to brake a little bit earlier. Car does not want to turn in after a certain point after like the tire run, so. For me personally, just had to stay patient. I feel like I'm pretty decent at like keeping my tire wear at a good level. So typically long run, I usually have good success over these races.
Yeah, able to have that success here tonight, get a much dominant win over everybody else in the field, especially Cameron Gilmore with 4 wins on the season. But before we send off on the way, any sponsor link for tonight's race win?
For sure, MX Wraps, Rev Sim Shop, Guys of Spirit. I really appreciate those guys. They all help me out tremendously, every week. So also big shout out to Zach. He crew chiefs all of us. Doesn't have to, not even his race, and he comes and helps us out. So much appreciation to him. And then of course, shout out to the admins. Big shout out to Dorsey, Dakota, and Riley. Appreciate them having me in the league.
Once again, congrats on your win here tonight at Milwaukee. We'll see you next week. We'll see you next week.
I'll see you, brother.
So that was Dorian Hamilton, our race winner here tonight. Now we'll bring in our second place finisher of Brandon Coxhausen. A good climb back there in the final run, able to chase down Cameron Gilmore there late. Kind of what was going through your head there was the final few laps to try and get by Cameron Gilmore?
I mean, honestly, I was worried about Rusty, and I looked ahead on the track, and I'm like, Gilmore's up here. I might be able to squeeze P2 out of this, and we all know how Cam's been running the series. Basically been unstoppable, so to get past him too was honestly really cool. And this race was awesome. I love Milwaukee, not gonna lie, I love this place.
Yeah, tonight it was a tough, kind of a tough racetrack. I always kind of see Milwaukee kind of a different racetrack than what we usually see, but I think probably the closest one, probably the closest track you can kind of get to it is New Hampshire, but it is a little bit, it's just slightly different, because it's kind of, what did you learn from New Hampshire, and kind of what you learned for tonight? What can you kind of bring into tonight from Milwaukee, kind of what you learned from New Hampshire earlier in the season?
Yeah, so New Hampshire was rough for me. The biggest thing for me was braking points and trail braking, staying on that brake, watching how quick I pushed the throttle through the end of the corner, and in practice and stuff, I was seeing my times improve, and I figured out, which lines you want to stay on that clean pavement at the bottom, obviously, as much as you can, or at least keep those left sides on it. And just run your race consistent. We knew there would be at least a caution in there, which there was, and just working around that and strategizing the pit stops correctly.
You're able to play the strategy right, play the tire wear right as well, and able to chase down Cameron Gilmore, get that second place finish there late. But before we send off on the way, any sponsor link for tonight's second place run?
Yeah, I want to shout out MX Wraps, Rev Sim Shop. My team, Spirit Racing, shout out Cameron, shout out Dorian. Braden wasn't able to race tonight, but I know he would have been up there with us. And a big shout out to Dorian on his first win. That's awesome. And personally, shout out, my friends and family. My friends are watching, girlfriend's watching, Andrea. My friends Andrew, John, Derek, James, and my parents. They watch every race, and it's just awesome, man. I just started iRacing right before this league started, and the competitiveness is awesome. And this league too, it's nice being in a league where people race each other clean, and we're all here just to have a good time. So.
And once again, congrats on your second place finish. We'll see you next week at Pocono.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
So it was our second place finisher tonight of Brandon Cuxhouse, and now we'll bring in our third place finisher of Cameron Gilmore. Had a dominant early performance there. We kind of battling with Rusty after you did that first run. That second run, kind of where you started to fall off a little bit. Kind of just what do you think you could have done differently there throughout that final kind of half of that race? Maybe try and get up front and maybe try and take the win away.
Yeah, the first stint went really, really well. I was able to get past Rusty and really figure out my tires. I really didn't get to practice much. And then I guess just the second and third half of the race, I just lost my knowledge I had earlier. I don't know if the track changed, but I really, really struggled, especially in the second stint with my tires. The third was all right, and at the end, I thought I could catch Dorian, absolutely obliterated my tires, and then Brandon got around me, and then Rusty and I had a little battle there that was hopefully fun to see from the broadcast.
Yeah, that battle there late. You're battling there late with Rusty. Had a drag race coming to the line. So kind of what was going through your head there those final few laps to try and hold on to second as much as you could?
Yeah, I knew the tires were cooked, and then I could obviously see Brandon and Rusty running me down. Brandon got by me, and then I was able to kind of hit a little undercut on him and get past him, and then he eventually got past me. And then I realized, if I don't get third, I won't be able to talk to you, Aaron. So I kind of sent into three, got Rusty door by door, and then he kind of pinched me down. I got a better run off of four, obviously, and then was able to drag race him out.
Yeah, able to just get him by 34 thousandths of a second and able to make another trip up here to the booth here tonight. But before we sit down, on the way, any sponsor thing for tonight's third place round?
Yeah, I want to shout out Rev Sim Shop, Spirit Racing, and MX Wraps, new sponsor on board. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to run them for the rest of the season as I'm getting moved out, apparently for being too fast. It is what it is, but excited to have them on board. I'm also going to have them on board for the Pro Series.
Once again, congrats on your third place finish tonight. We'll see you next week at Pocono and your future endeavors.
Thank you, Aaron.
So that was Cameron Gilmore, our third place finish here tonight. Has 4 wins on the season. Cannot pick up the 5th one here tonight. But Dorian Hamilton, our race winner here tonight from Milwaukee. Kind of a similar track to what we saw in New Hampshire. And he was one of the strongest drivers at New Hampshire a few weeks ago. But just couldn't... He just made a big mistake on pit road, but he still got a solid finish back in New Hampshire, but he kind of redeems himself here tonight, able to pick up the win here at Milwaukee. But coming up next year on the Legends Racing Network, before we get to next week at Pocono tomorrow night, we do have the Snowball Derby special event tomorrow night at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time. And on Wednesday night, we'll have the Superstar Request at Pocono at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. And then we'll see, and then we'll have the next Thursday, with the Quantum Contender race number 8 at Pocono, 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time in 1 week's time. It was definitely a fun one here tonight from Milwaukee, and a fun finish battle for third, but it was Dorian Hamilton able to pick up tonight's win for tonight's Allen Kulwicki 162, presented by Factory Facility Functions. As we'll see next time here on the Legends Racing Network. So long here from Milwaukee.